The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Cube with Sister Shamiza.
Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. It is 10 o'clock on Monday, 13th of January, and you are joined by me, Shamiza, taking it all the way up to 12 o'clock on Where Else? It's the Urban Cube show, keeping you entertained and company on this wonderful Monday morning. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend, guys, and you are having a great start to the week. It's Monday, so motivation is my thing this morning to keep you entertained and informed. Now, today's show, as always, is about having great conversations with trailblazers that are local, national and international, joining me in the studio or over the phone. And today is no exception, because I am absolutely delighted to introduce my next guest, whose work is magnificent, if I can say so myself. Her work is utterly magnificent and resonates with those around her, close and far as well. She's somebody that has made her mark in the world of performance poetry, and also made her mark in public speaking and motivational speaking as well. She broadcasts live from her Facebook page, so we're going to find out a little bit more. And she's also a published poet. Her name is Haneefah Muhammad, and it's absolutely wonderful to have you in the studio with me this morning. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Wa alaikum salam, Shamiza. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is such an honour, really. It's only my second time here, and it's such an honour, so thank you so much.
No, it's an absolute treat. Do you know why, sister? Because I do follow your work, and what you do is you really do inspire me. I observe your work on your Facebook live feeds, and I'm sure everybody will agree with me at the end of this interview why I need to have you on the show today to give me some motivation. Because today's show is all about being the better you.
Love that title. Love it. I love the title. And the topic.
And it's January, and this is a topic that a lot of people can resonate with, because I've been talking about this in previous shows as well. It's very kind of typical when January arrives for people to kind of create resolutions and to make themselves, improve themselves and become the better version of themselves, and have all these plans put into place for mental well-being or health well-being, or just, activities that they want to invest in. And many do very well. Others just, get to the end of the week and okay, back to what we planned in 2019.
Yes.
So it's wonderful to have you here to kind of share with me your thoughts on being the better you, because this is something that you're quite passionate about in the work that you share and showcase. So to begin with, my dear, being the better you, what does that mean for you?
As soon as I heard the topic, I was excited. I had a kind of an excitement, because being the better you for me means knowing you first. Before you can think about being a better you, for me it starts with knowing you, who you are as a person. And what I find is often we ask someone, so tell me about you. Who are you? What do you do? No, not what you do. Often it's, so tell me about you. And often we start with, well, I'm a teacher, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, I'm a broadcaster, whatever it might be. I'm a mother of 3. And all of those are great things to be, to do. For me, though, it's about starting from the who inside of me. I want to know, when I say to someone, so who are you? I want to know about them as a person. I want to know what makes them tick, what excites them, what lights their fire. And so for me, being the better you, first and foremost, starts with knowing who you, who I, who the other is. And the next question, of course, is how do we get there? But I'm sure that we'll come to that.
And we will. We definitely will. Folks, if you've tuned in, you are listening to me, Shamiza, taking all the way up to 12 o'clock. It is 5 minutes past 10, and this is the Urban Cube show going live from Inspire FM. We are also on Facebook, so if you'd like to catch all the action and the visuals, go onto the Facebook page for Inspire FM. And as always, the show is repeated 8 p.m. this evening on Inspire FM. We're also going out to the wonderful people across to Peterborough and Sheffield Link FM and Peterborough Salam Radio. The question we have today is asking you, what makes you the better you? What things can you put into action to make you feel more engaged and accomplished? Now, I've come across an article that's actually suggesting 10 ways of doing so.
Fab. Great.
And I'm going to be sharing those 10 ways with you guys this morning. But I'd like to find out from yourselves if you've got any suggestions that you'd like to give to me this morning. And the way to do that is contact us on 07779 481822. You can leave a message and we're more than happy to read that out. Or if you just want to say a salam to us on the show this morning, to Haneefah or myself, Shamiza, we're more than delighted to read those messages out as well. So they can be left on the Facebook page for Inspire FM or WhatsApp as well. Now, this is not the only thing we're going to be talking about today, hence being the better you. We're also going to be talking about national days. As always, I always bring in a national day or two. The show is based around them. And one of them is Make Your Dream Come True. Wow. Today's national day is Make Your Dream Come True. Now, making your dream come true, I'm going to go back to something I saw on your Facebook page. It was a lovely quote, and it said, sometimes life is about risking everything for a dream that no one can see but you.
Yeah.
And I was really quite intrigued by this particular quote and why you shared that and what that meant to you. So in response to that, Haneefah, what does that mean to you?
So that quote as well is very inspiring for me, and that's why I wanted to share it with people today, because on my Facebook page, because there have been many times in my life when I've had dreams that I have shared with other people and even only shared with myself. And I've kind of doubted myself. Oh, where did that come from? The idea will pop into my head. Where did that come from? Oh, I don't know. Or I'll share it with someone else and they'll say to me, where did that come from? Don't know. But it's just come to me. And you know what? I believe that our dreams come as a message to us. Often they come to us as a message about what we can achieve, reaching our full, doing what we can to reach our full potential. And so sometimes because we doubt ourselves, because there's so much self-doubt, and some of us suffer with low self-esteem, some of us suffer with low self-worth, so we doubt that we can actually even dream, let alone achieve them. And so sometimes when we share our dreams, or even when we have our dream in our own minds, we actually almost don't believe them ourselves. Now, an example that I will share with you now is when I was writing my first book. I remember having, that literally came as an idea, it was a message, it was a download, if you like. So write a book. Because I wanted to talk about stress management. And so write a book. And I looked around the room. I was the only one in the kitchen at that time, so there was no one else there with me. So write a book. And it was almost comical. Fast forward, I was blessed to write the book, alhamdulillah, to write the book. But but on that journey, I shared this dream, because once it became an idea, then it was a dream. Yeah, okay. Once I started believing that I could do it, and then I shared that with a particular person who was very close to me, and I remember saying to him, I'm going to write this book, and that's it. I'm going to write this book. And he said, "Why are you doing this? Why are you putting yourself through all of this stress? Why do it? Why not just talk about it and just do it?" No, I want to write this book. So he didn't believe either that I could do it. And in a way, that was a kind of a motivation for me as well, because once I'd had the thought, believed in it myself. Then it then became a dream, and it was a dream that I wanted to realize. And
Mashallah,
mashallah, it was realized.
You've realized that dream. Tell us the title of that book.
My first book is The A to Z of Stress Solutions.
I love that. It's so fitting for today's show and the things that we're talking about. Why did you need to do an A to Z to stress solutions? And did each letter of the alphabet reflect an element of stress? I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So I wanted to do the A to Z of stress solutions because for me, the A to Z suggests something pretty step by step and pretty straightforward. Not simple, because I'm not talking to there are people out there are intelligent. But I wanted to make just the reading of the book as stress-free as possible. Because sometimes people feel the idea of reading a book is, I haven't even got the time to do it. I can't do that. It's too much information. So I thought, okay, how can I make it simple? What would I want to read if I was feeling stressed and I wanted to read something that wasn't going to send me into a stress spin? I'd want to read something straightforward. So I thought, okay, the A to Z. Right. So for me, each letter, does represent an aspect of life that we sometimes find stress. But if we use a behavior, like, for instance, awareness, becoming aware of what is happening in our lives can actually be an immediate de-stressor. Sometimes we're worried about things and we don't know I'm worried about something. I feel uneasy about something. I'm not quite sure what it is and so on. But just taking some time out to stop and become aware of what we're feeling, what we're thinking, what is going on around us at this moment in time can bring awareness to us and can then immediately begin to de-stress us. So take the stress out of the particular situation that we're in. So yes, and then there's balance, and then there's communication, and then there's determination. There are. So it goes on all the way to Zen. So yes, that was the idea of it.
Zen. Was there any letter in the alphabet that was your favourite letter that you wanted to kind of reflect upon?
There are a few, but one of them was X for X Factor.
Okay.
Because for me, it's about, and I really pondered on that. What am I going to use for X? Xylophone. But then I thought X Factor, because there is something, for me, the X Factor, having the X Factor is about there's something special in each of us that gives us the X Factor. It's something that you don't have, that's in me, I don't have, that's in you. We each have something unique and individual that gives us the X Factor. So that one I love so much because it's about discovering what that X Factor is within each of us and then working towards bringing that out of ourselves so that we can be the better us.
Be the better us, bringing that element that is so unique to us, which we fail to recognise.
So often.
We fail to recognise that because we are conditioned to be part of a system.
Yeah.
And we're going to work at a certain time, we're coming back at a certain time, we're fulfilling all these obligations that the material world expects you to fill in order to be a success in your life. If you don't have the house, or you're not married at a certain time, or you don't have this number of children, or if you do have them or you don't have them, that's your choice, but a certain type of a job, and then that is what is an expectation. But that expectation kind of, sometimes you forget who you are, the real you. And
that's the problem. And that's one of the problems I find. And also because of the media, social media these days, that it's a good tool, social media, but it is a tool, I think. It's not our life. And once it becomes our life rather than a tool for life, then I think we can sometimes find ourselves in difficulty because we look at what someone else has put on their social media page. Then we look at, they seem to be having a really nice life and I really love, they look so fantastic and so on. But we don't know what got them to where they were. We don't know the story behind it. So it's about being ourselves, using our X factor to be the best that we can be rather than trying to be someone else. Yeah.
I really like the fact that you describe social media as being a tool and reminding myself and hopefully our listeners that it is a tool.
Yeah.
It's not the whole, our life can be still active without this tool.
Yeah. It is a tool. It's not the tool.
Yeah.
It's a great tool for communication. It's a great tool for sharing ideas. It's a great tool for sharing what we're doing in our everyday life. It's a great tool to share information about books or articles or courses. It's a great tool, but it's not the only tool, and it isn't our life. And we need to also be skeptical, have a natural skepticism. And by that, I don't mean doubt everything that we see, but just be questioning. That's all. Just be questioning.
And is this where people may possibly be going wrong in their life, that they are so engrossed by a system like this, social media, that they forget that they can detach themselves?
I won't say that people are going wrong in their life. I just feel that some people are taking social media as the
Be an end all?
as the be all and end all of life, and for them, I wouldn't say that is wrong. I will simply invite them to question and think about the other things that we all have going on in our life, where we can draw inspiration and motivation from. Our immediate family, for a start. Friends, I mean, people that we meet every day, the shopkeeper, we can take inspiration from them as well. Look, we don't need to go on the social media pages to find inspiration. It is all around us. We go out, look at nature around us, look at listen to the birds out there. All of that might sound woo woo to some people, but all of those things all go up to improve our well-being. So, and it makes us much more observant and feel much more connected to the world. And I think social media sometimes makes us feel disconnected from the real world.
And that's a really, really important point that you've raised about having that connection with the real world. And you can't get more real than being in nature.
Yes.
And reminding people to take a little bit of a respite, go out there, experience the wind and the clouds. I know it's a little bit cold, people. Wrap up when you go out.
Wrap up. Yes.
But it's all good. Now, you've talked about people and inspiration. We've got Amy Ricks listening in to the show.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
She sent you a love heart.
I send it back.
And she's listening into the show. So thank you so very much, Amy, for tuning in. And Amy is a remarkable woman who's making a difference through art and connecting people and sharing her positive vibes with those around her, close and afar. And art is a tool that enables and encourages people to come together. And this is something that you're very passionate about, art through writing, bringing words together.
Yes.
Have you always been so wise and so talented in putting these words together?
Do you know what? I would humbly say that I've been given a gift, and I've been given this gift. I became aware of this gift 20 odd years ago. It's probably always been within me, but it was about connecting with it and becoming aware, as we were talking about, aware of this gift that I've been given to connect with people through my art, through poetry. And for me, it isn't difficult. It's about just responding to the messages that I receive. Again, not woo-woo, just I could see a word. Could be going down the street and see a word on the side of a bus or in a newspaper. And I find inspiration from that. I just saw Inspire FM up there and I just thought, and I will take inspiration from that. And usually that will connect with something else that's going on in my life. And I will use that one word or that one phrase and a poem will be created. But I think I've always had that gift, of being able to connect with people through the spoken word. And I'm so thankful and grateful for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we are too, because mashallah, your words, just listening into you has been so inspiring. And I'm sure our listeners will agree too. Folks, if you've just tuned in, you're listening to the Urban Cube with me, Shamiza, taking it all the way to 12 o'clock this morning. It is at 10:20 exactly, and it's Monday, 13th of January. And I have the absolute pleasure of having Sister Haneefah Muhammad in the studio this morning with me, live and direct, people. She's in the studio this morning. And who is Haneefah? Oh my goodness. I don't have enough words to describe this woman, so I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Magnificent! Magnificent is the word I'm going to use. And mashallah. So Haneefah is a performance poet, and she's also a published author as well. And she has a lot of books under her belt. Her words resonate to the core for many people. She speaks of topics that we are so relatable about, emotions and well-being and connecting and relationships. Mashallah. One of the we're actually going to have a bit of a treat, because she will be performing her poetry on the show this morning, but also reflecting with me on the topic of being the better you. That's what we're talking about today, guys. We are hopefully going to be inspiring you, and hopefully you're going to be inspiring us with your thoughts around what does it mean to you when we say being the better you? How can you make that happen, or making yourself feel more engaged and accomplished? Hopefully that is not too much pressure for you guys to kind of think about, but we have got some pointers that we will be sharing with you on the show as well, on how to kind of make, or 10 ways we want to kind of give you to help you become the better you. Now, on the show also this morning, we're talking about making your dreams come true. We're also going to be speaking further with Haneefah this morning and sharing her poetry journey. And we'd like you to kind of get engaged in the studio this morning too, and tell me where you're listening in from, people, this morning. Are you at work? Are you at home? Are you driving? But don't text us whilst you're driving. Make sure you park somewhere. We'd love to hear from you. Haneefah, I'm going to ask you, would it be possible to have you read a piece for us on the show this morning, inshallah? It is 10:22, so we will be heading off to a break in a couple of moments' time. But folks, feel free to join in with the conversations this morning on 07779 481 822. Have you done anything in your started to do something in your life to kind of make a bit of a change or an improvement? Do share with us. Would love to hear from you. So Haneefah, is there anything in particular that you'd like to read for us?
What I'd like to read for you is a poem which is called Unapologetically You. Because I think, as we were saying earlier, so often we lose track of who we are. It's so easy to lose track of who we are. And suddenly become somebody else, this star that we've seen on TV or heard on the radio. And that's wonderful that we take inspiration from other people, but wanting to become that person, I think, is another thing altogether. And so for me, being unapologetically you is important. So I'd like to share that with you. Okay. It's a fairly short poem. So it's called Unapologetically You. From this day forward, speak up and stand your ground. Know what you want, and when you know you're right, don't back down. Show gratitude, honor your greatness, let your light shine through. Know your power, love yourself, and always be unapologetically you. So that's my message. Be unapologetically you. Don't apologise to people for who we are. And often we say, when we're talking, we say to people, we'll do something and we'll say, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, oh, I never meant to say that. Oh, we're apologising. I'm saying be unapologetically you. It's not arrogant. It's not being arrogant. It's just being confident and comfortable in our own skin. But I know that's a journey that takes practice. It's a lifelong journey. But it's such a beautiful journey to set out on. And for me, and I'm sure we'll come to that as we go along in the programme, it's about going within. It starts from the inside out.
And we're going to be reflecting more on the inside out on the show straight after the break. Inshallah, we are heading off to a break, but folks, don't go away because we're still joined by the very fabulous Haneefah, who's going to be sharing with you and I about being the better you. We'll be hearing more from her, reading from her poetry, and also catching up with any messages that you're going to be sending across. Do so. It'd be lovely to hear what you have to say, or if there's any tips that you'd like to give us on the show this morning. We are live on Facebook, guys, so you can leave the comments on the Facebook section, and we're heading off to break. So after the break, please do join us. Grab yourself a cuppa if you want to, and catch me straight off this. Assalamu alaikum.
The number one radio station for Luton. This is Inspire FM. Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Cube with Sister Shamiza.
Good morning, and assalamu alaikum. It's Shamiza taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock this morning, 10:30, Monday 13th of January. And I'm in great company this morning, not just with yourselves, folks, but also with the very fabulous Haneefah Muhammad, who is my wonderful guest with me all the way up to 12 o'clock. And I'm just so stoked. Is that like a youth word?
Yeah,
stoked.
It is. It's a youth word.
It's a youth word, isn't it?
It's a youth word, yeah.
I'm totally stoked to have her in the studio with me. Love because I'm already so inspired. I'm totally lit. Is that
lit? That's another one. You've gone a bit urban. You've gone urban, Shamiza. Yes,
totally urban.
I love
on the show because her words have kind of resonated deep, and I don't have words to kind of reflect how I'm feeling. I'm totally feeling the vibe.
Another one. Okay, Shamiza, right, okay. We have you on the streets soon, doing your thing. Doing your thing.
But you will be on the streets, my darling, because you're featured.
Wow.
You're featured in a mural. Have I said that correctly? Because I can never say that.
Mural, yes. Piece of street art.
Street art.
Yeah.
Governor. It's all happening.
Yeah, it's all happening. It's all going down. Oh dear. I love it though. I love it.
It's all about the good vibes.
It's all happening. Yeah.
It is all happening. I just need to hold on to the giggles because hiccup and giggles.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with giggles. You know what? Laughter is they say laughter is the best medicine, and laughter is itself a smiling and laughter, stress busters. The energy that you can bring into yourself, that we bring into ourselves when we smile and when we laugh, we use different muscles when we're smiling, when we're laughing. I mean, the energy that we bring in is just so healthy. Good for our well-being. So laugh away.
Laugh away, guys. Are you feeling the vibes? Do tell us. Join us on the show this morning, 07779 481 822. Go onto the Facebook Live page. Leave a comment. Tell us if you're feeling positive this morning. Would love to hear from you because it's all about being the better you and laughter. Laughing more. Taking time out is so important for your mental well-being. Now, I'm going to reflect on an incident at the weekend. I went with a dear friend. We took our daughters to have a meal. And the thing about my dear friend, you may know her. She has been part of the Mother Monologues. Musi, I'm just going to say your name. I'm not going to say your full name, just in case I embarrass you. We when we get together, we just giggle. And it's so nice.
Yeah, how great is that?
But the thing was, both our daughters who are 15, turned around and said, "You are behaving like teenagers."
Isn't that fab.
Why are you behaving like
so
this?
mums can't giggle and laugh anymore? Oh no, you've got to be totally serious. And when you're totally serious, it's mum, chill. So you don't know what to do you really?
What do you do? It's like, is there like a cut-off point where you're not allowed,
to laugh
in public, in good company?
You're doing mum laughing.
It's just,
it's a bit like the dad dancing thing. Oh, dad, don't dance. No. So you're doing the mum laughing thing. Mum giggle. Don't do it.
I was horrified.
You can't win.
I could not believe it. I'm just thinking, oh gosh, the vibes.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, you know what? I'm totally going to keep rocking the vibes. And somebody who's actually got in contact with us is saying salam, sisters, is no other than Brother Haneefah Muhammad. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Is saying loving the positive vibes. Thank you so very much, brother. And you know what? You're all about the positive vibes as well. Now, he's a tremendous brother doing so much on Inspire FM, but also locally, nationally as well through his fabulous nasheed performances and his creative writing, his books, and also the children's show that he does on Inspire FM. So, thank you. Thank you. You're full of positive vibes, brother. So thank you for getting in touch. Now, we want to find out if anybody else is rocking the positive vibes this morning. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what it's about, yeah.
And smiling is sunnah.
Yeah. It's healthy, good for the well-being, good for the soul. Yeah. Good for the soul. So let's do it. Let's do it.
And if any teenagers have got problems with their mothers and fathers...
Oh, sorry, I'm laughing. I shouldn't laugh, should I?
I know, you're not allowed to. Just, Moving on. We're having too much of a good time on the show this morning, but this is what it's all about, people. It's all about throwing over the positive vibes.
Exactly.
And today's show is about being the better you. And we are exploring what this actually means. And what we're wanting to kind of share is that... it is actively possible to become a better person. So sometimes people kind of, are questioning that. What else can I do to improve my surroundings, improve me? But, small steps can create that change, that mindset. And some of the changes that we are suggesting, which is entirely up to yourself, maybe you can relate to them or maybe you can offer some to us, is find a hobby. Find a hobby is one thing. You could possibly volunteer. Volunteering is a great means.
Doing charitable work is helps. If you're feeling down, you're not feeling good about yourself, doing something for someone else can actually help. It's not only good for the soul, but it's also a way of taking away the attention from ourselves and putting it on the other person, the other group, the other activity that we're doing. So that has to be a good thing. Just for a moment, takes us away from ourselves. That has to be a good thing. That's great.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, Brother Khalil has got back in contact and he says, once when I was feeling down, I forced myself to smile. And I did, and he felt better. So try it.
That's great.
We are smiling whilst we're speaking, brother.
Yes.
It's like, like the dentures are all out. Extra wrinkles.
And there are times when you actually don't feel like smiling. But actually, if we can take ourselves away from ourselves and even as they say, fake it till you make it. I'm not saying go around with a plastic smile on your face, but just take inspiration from your environment, because if you're feeling down, just again looking at nature, listen to the birds, listen to just seeing what birds pecking at a bit of food and so on. All of those things can make you smile. Seeing children playing together and the little games they get up to and the things they say to each other, the little spats they get. Those things can make you smile, make you laugh. That's great.
The little things.
The little things, the little steps, as you said earlier. Yeah,
and it's appreciating the simplicity of life and not forgetting yourself in that or getting lost and just appreciating.
Not making it complex, because so often, so many of us are very good at making making simplicity complex. Of course. The simple things in life.
So that was our thoughts on volunteering. One thing that you might relate to, have some fun. People, have some fun.
Listen, Shamiza, on, what day was it? I think it was Friday morning. I because I'm really trying to keep myself fit. And I decided I was going to do some exercising. I was listening to some music, and I was in the kitchen doing something, and suddenly I found myself just dancing around the kitchen. And I was having a great time. I was laughing to myself, singing away. Of course, I've got the most fabulous voice that you can imagine. Singing away, dancing away. I was having fun. When I'm with my friends, when I'm with my girlfriends, when I'm with my family, I'm having fun, and I love that. It can automatically lift me out of a place that I may not be happy in at the moment. Oh, it's great. Have fun.
Do you think there's a cut-off point where people think that you get to a certain age, you shouldn't be allowed to have fun? Just like my example that I gave about my dear friend, and we're 40-something, and we've got our daughters sat in front of us, and our daughters are telling us off.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes from social media. I don't want to knock social media, because I've already said I think it's a very powerful and a positive tool. But I think there are so many images, and particularly in among so-called famous people in the public eye and so on, and they're often young and they're lively and they're energetic and they're doing. But actually, there are a lot of people, sort of the 40ers and upwards, who are doing some fun things as well. And there's nothing wrong with having fun. It's a natural part of life. And once we lose the ability to enjoy life, to have fun with life, and see the funny side of ourselves as well, and laugh at ourselves, be able to laugh at ourselves, the things that we do, once we lose that ability, then we have to really just, have a word with ourselves, I think. Yeah, have a word.
It's the inner child needs to come out more. That's what it's all about, I think.
We're going to come to that inner person, that inner going inward to reflect outward. It's so important. And I think that, and as I say, I believe that's where it all starts. Being the better you starts with knowing that there is a better you. You can only know that there's a better you if you know you. And for me, you begin to know you by going inside of yourself. And as I say, that's a process. And it can happen through so many means. Prayer, through mindfulness, through yoga, through meditation. That journey inside of ourselves to find out who we are, connect with our true self, because it's my belief that that's where the real me, the real you, the real us sits inside of ourselves, that place where that little voice comes from sometimes telling us, I don't think you should do that, or yeah, go on, do it, nudging us to do something. Yeah, go and do it. And sometimes we listen and sometimes we don't. But that little voice comes from that place within, and for me that place is the soul. And we all have one. We all have a soul, but the extent to which we connect with that soul, that place within ourselves, is different for all of us. And it can be scary. It really can be scary, because that's the place of truth. And so many of us we want to run from the truth because it's just too frightening, being ourselves. We're so used to wearing a mask that the idea of taking that mask off and being our true self is kind of scary. But it is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight, but starts from within.
And I hope you're enjoying this journey of discovery with us this morning, folks. It is the Urban Cube show. I am in great company. I'm joined by no other than the absolutely wonderful Haneefah Muhammad, all the way up to 12 o'clock. And we are definitely in for a treat for our ears, as she is sharing so naturally her thoughts around being the better you. And I'm learning to be the better me, just sat here on the other side of the mic, which is absolutely wonderful. And today's show is kind of sharing those ideas on how we can possibly feel more engaged and a bit more accomplished, because unfortunately I do seem to see this, and I've been seeing this for a number of years, where there is a growing research and reports suggesting that mental health is on the increase. Mental health is on the increase, but the age of its impact is getting younger and younger and younger, which is extremely worrying for me as an adult to kind of lived many a decade to see where and see the kind of the difference in each decade and the level of mental health and its recognition. And it's wonderful to see that there is more discussion. There is more research. There is more. There's less stigma. But what for me is worrying that the fact it's getting younger and younger and younger, which is quite worrying. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about that after 11 o'clock. But I'm going to be coming back and reflecting to our list that we've created of how to feel more engaged and accomplished and ways to help you become the better you. We've already spoken about finding a hobby. We've talked about volunteering. We've talked about have some fun. Now it's like scratch off the item of your to-do list. Simple as that.
Wow.
Scratching off the item on your to-do list.
Okay. And I agree with that because I'm a great one for lists. I like making lists because they give me, particularly if I've got a lot of things to do, that stuff is all in my head. And for me, just writing a list of those things is helps me, one, to sort them out, to see exactly what I've got to do. And I love ticking things off of my list, my to-do list. But another kind of list that I think we often overlook when we're thinking about to-do lists is the to-be list.
Oh, I've not heard of that.
I think that's what we often forget, the to-be list. We're so busy doing. Oh, I've got to do my work. I've got to do the housework. I've got to do my reports. I've got to do the shopping. I've got to do. Okay, how about what you want to be? How about being? And that's a kind of list that I think so many of us don't make. And it's what I was saying earlier about asking someone, so tell me a bit about yourself. Well, I'm a teacher. That's what you do. That's what you do. But what about who are you as a person? So the to-be list, it for me is about, okay, I want to make a difference. I want to be a person who makes a difference in the world. I want to be more resourceful, use my inner resources, but use those resources to help other people, in service of other people, and obviously in service of myself and those immediately around me. I want to be healthy and physically healthy and more and fitter. All of those things that I want to be. So to do, but also I want to be more learn to be more, or to become more intuitive, to tune in again to the inner part of myself that is my guide, really. So that means being silent. Be silent.
Wow.
So often we're not encouraged to do that, because engage with someone on this social media, engage with that one, get on the phone, send out a message, and on the phone. So busy. The business of being busy. I suggest let's be about our own business. Be about the business of what I'm about and who I am. That's what I would encourage us to do. So tick off your to-do list, but don't forget, be.
To-be list. I love that. I really like the sound of that, and I'm definitely going to be doing one of those, because we do forget.
It's about, what do I want to be more purposeful, more resourceful, as I say? Do I want to be a better listener? Do I want to be a better, a better human? More creative. What do I want to be? Do I want to be more about the things that I can do well? Yeah, I do want to do that. I do want to be that person.
Mashallah. Can you relate to anything that we've spoken about this morning, guys? Do get in touch with us. What do you think about having a how to be list similarly to having a to-do list, but this is a list that I've never really thought about, so I'm really going to be taking that on board, because that's more personal.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
It's more about the inner self.
About the inner self. It is more personal, and that's what I think many of us don't like doing. We don't like thinking about that inner self, as I was saying earlier.
Because it's quite frightening.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
You know, who am I? Because we spend so long and we spend so much of our day being another person, because we're in work and we're a teacher or we're a broadcaster or social worker or nurse, whatever. So we are doing a particular job. But we rarely have time to reflect on who we are as people. So, and because we forget that, sometimes we find ourselves going on a bit of a hamster wheel, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. And before long, we realise we can't get off that hamster wheel, because it's become so much a part of us. We're almost stuck to it. It's become so much a part of us. So just taking time to step off it and reflect on but who am I? What do I have within me? What do I want to be? What's the person I want to be? And often it's very, very different to the person to what we're doing. The person that we want to be is very often different to the person the thing that we're doing.
And this is what really fascinates me, because there is this other self, which is a public self,
Yes.
and that is part of, may I use the word, like the system, as in your work self, your professional self, the way you are in the community, and can be very different to who you are as a person. Yeah. So you might be confident in certain capacities, and not so confident in other areas of your life as well. And it's kind of having that balance, which is really fascinating to kind of reflect on. Even I do. I'm like, oh gosh, I'd like to just sit in silence and actually work out, who am I?
Yeah.
You know, even at this age, it's never too late to do that. And I think we need to kind of make people understand it's never too late to create change. And to kind of be true to yourself. Yes. And this is also coming back to make your dream come true day, because we are going back to that again, aren't we? It's kind of, what is it?
What is it? What is my dream? When we were younger, we probably had all these kinds of dreams that we wanted. I want to be an airline pilot, or I want to be a chemist, or I want to be whatever we want to be. And then life comes along, and we suddenly find ourselves doing something else. We may be enjoying it, but it's not fulfilling us.
Yes, that's the word.
So that's the key. Yes, we're enjoying what we're doing, but is it actually satisfying me at a deeper level? Am I feeling fulfilled? Is this what am I living my purpose, my true purpose? Often we find that we're not. If we're honest with ourselves, often we find that, but some are, and some people are happy with their lives, and that's great. But for those of us who get to a point where we feel, actually, I'm not happy with the way I am at this moment. But who am I? Who have I become? And how do I get out of this? How do I get off this hamster wheel? That's the scary part.
And I hope you could maybe share with us your experiences, folks. Are you following your dream? Are you doing something different to what you've qualified yourself in? And have you created that change later on in your life? Because I've read some wonderful stories of women and men in their 80s who've gone and graduated or taken, who've done their first art exhibition.
Bungee jump or something at 85.
Who are experiencing challenges or opportunities in academia, creativity or volunteering that they may not have done at a younger stage in their life. So it's never too late. Don't put a time limit on when you want to do things. I think that's what we're wanting to kind of share on the show today, about being the better you. And we do seem to spend more of our life working to kind of pay the bills than we do in investing in ourselves, which is something that I try to balance myself as a person. I try and kind of do more of what I'm passionate about. And I think that is because I reflect on where my mother or my grandmother and their life and their commitments and their experiences, and they always say to me, you need to, do a little bit more of this or do a little bit more of this because time is quite limited. So, I'd love to find out if you've created that change in your lives. Now, it is 10:53. We are heading off to a break. You're still listening to the Urban Cube show with me, Shamiza, and the absolutely wonderful Haneefah Muhammad, live in the studio this morning. And now, want to say thank you to everybody that's been contributing. Massive big salams to Brother Khalil Muhammad and also Amy Ricks. We're going to be catching up with messages as well on your thoughts on today's show. And also, we're going to be reflecting and asking Haneefah about some of the projects that she's been involved in. And she's been involved with loads and they are not stopping. So hopefully you'll get involved with that. She's also had many debuts on some amazing platforms and also will be featured in a very, very exciting artwork. We gave you a little bit of a teaser, a little bit of a taster of what that was because we were getting a bit urban, weren't we, sis?
Yeah, we were getting a bit street. We went a bit street, didn't we, really?
And people were like, okay, this show is just off the tangent this morning. It's all positive vibes, people. And after we will also be hearing a little bit more of the tremendous poetry by Sister Haneefah this morning and catching up with some events that may have impacted her in 2019 and some current news stories as well. I'd like to reflect on too. So there's so much more you've got in store for you this morning. Do connect with us on 07779 481 822. Help me broaden this list. I've been sharing a list on 10 ways to help you be a better you, to help you feel more engaged and more accomplished. We've talked about find a hobby, clean out your space. I'm going to be reflecting on volunteering, having some fun, scratch off items of your to-do list. We've also got make a to-be list as well. We're going to be talking about that. I'm also going to be talking about fostering relationships. Fostering relationships.
Wow. Big one.
That's something.
A big one.
Well, we're going to save that for after the break. We want you to get involved, guys, because you know what? That makes me a better me if you get involved.
How good is that?
If you're listening, no pressure, folks. No pressure whatsoever. Get dialing in, please, so it feels that I'm not talking to myself, which I'm not. So lovely people from Peterborough and Sheffield, do get involved as well with any of the conversations. Would love to find out what your thoughts are on today and how you're making those improvements. Are people in Luton different to Peterborough and Sheffield? I don't know. You tell me.
Oh,
that's
wow.
a bit random.
You're going to set something off now.
I know. Heading off to a break. After this, it's more conversations with me, Shamiza and Haneefah. Assalamu alaikum.
You're listening to an Inspire FM podcast, making available our popular programs from our daily broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Cube with Sister Shamiza.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. How are you, wonderful people? I hope you're very well wherever you are, having a great start to your working week. For some, on the first day of the working week, it's Monday, and it means one thing here. It's the Urban Cube Show, hopefully motivating you through the week with some of the conversations that I'm having with the very fabulous Haneefah Muhammad. Oh, it's an absolute pleasure being in your company. I am revitalized. I am totally being the better me, because today's show is all about being the better you. And we're giving you tips on how to make that possible, because all the shows across January are very much around this theme, asking a fantastic guest that I invite into the studio to share their thoughts, and today is no exception. It's an absolute treat to have the very awesome Haneefah Muhammad, who is a notable performance poet and a published author, who also not just performs locally but has had national interest in her work. Her audiences are growing bigger and wider, and she's performed on so many notable stages as well. And it's not stopping there, because now she is making her mark on the walls of Luton. Tell me more, Haneefah. How are you doing that, love?
Oh, my word. This is amazing. Do you know, I had an opportunity to be involved in a wonderful project, called the Mother Monologues. And of course, Shamiza's very much involved in, she coordinated the project. And really, it gave both all of us as women who were involved in this project an opportunity to share our experiences of caring, mothering, looking after, being responsible for another, whether it be a mother looking after the children or a daughter looking after her mother, in my case. And also it enabled us to talk about, what came up for us in terms of the government's austerity program, because so much of caring involves having the resources to do that caring well. But those resources are largely governed by finance, by the government services, local services, and so on. And if those services aren't there for us, then us as carers, mothers, carers, us as carers, our job is so much harder, Shamiza, as you know. And so we had an opportunity to actually share that experience as part of a performance piece. And I am so thankful that we were invited with Shamiza's guidance, really, to meet and share our pieces, whether they be stories or pieces of poetry. And then we went to the BBC and we performed our Mother Monologues pieces, and that recording went out on was it
30th
the 30th of December. And I have to tell you, folks, although of course I would say this, wouldn't I? But I'm being absolutely real with this. It was an amazing show. I listened in trepidation because, of course, you think, "Oh, how am I going to come across?" It's all about me. How am I going to come across? What's he going to say? How they're going to put the program together? But actually, it was a phenomenal program, and I'm so proud that I was a part of that program, where we talked about our experiences and shared some of the difficulties, the beauty of caring for those we love, but also some of the real life struggles of that. But from that experience has come a beautiful piece of artwork. And Shamiza has mentioned Amy Ricks, who is an amazing artist, a street artist, but she's not just street stuff. She does all sorts of things.
She's a director of the Red Creative Studios.
That's right.
A poet herself, a performance poet. Very giving. Very caring. Very, very works her socks off, she does.
For the community. Wonderful. For the community. And Amy has created this amazing mural. Huge thing it is. Mural. And it depicts all of the women that were involved in this Mother Monologues
most of
project.
The women.
Most of I beg your pardon. Yes, of course, most of the women who are involved in the Mother Monologues project. And I've had an opportunity to have a quick glimpse at the mural, and it is quite amazing. And I understand that it's actually going out. It's going to be made public.
Inshallah this week.
So, you know where... It's opposite the church?
It's opposite St. Mary's Church. It's the power plant. It is part of the largest urban street art in Europe. Yeah. It's quite significant in the space that it's had. I don't think anybody in the project expected this element to be part of it.
Absolutely
I love the
not.
Spontaneity of it.
She's blessed us with this. I mean, she was inspired, I'm sure, and it is an inspired piece. It's a wonderful piece. And she's created the images of us as we are, just as we are. She's done an amazing job, and I can't wait for it to be made public, so the public can actually see the women that were involved in this project.
What's nice is the women that are involved in the project know it's them, but not necessarily everybody else will recognise them, because there's an element of mystery which is exciting. We're giving away too much.
I know. Yeah, you are giving away too much.
But I think what's significant, it is very urban. It's very quite contemporary in the sense that some of the wording on that is a reflection of the pieces that you've created. So we've got verses of the pieces that are actually on that mural. I've learnt over 6 months on how to say mural, and which is a wonderful testament to you ladies for the wonderful stories. Your journeys of survival, a survival that many people will be able to resonate with, because we're all impacted by these austerity measures. And it's, I think the whole purpose of that bureau is to kind of say we are together as one, you know? We are a community.
We're in this kind of struggle together, but no matter what, the people that our loved ones are those that we will continue to care for, no matter what the government decides to do in terms of relaxing the austerity measures or reinforcing them, whatever. We will do what we have to do, but all we ask is for the powers that be to be more aware of the work and the sacrifices that we make to care for those that we love, without the recognition and the support that we really need to do that well.
And thank you for being that voice for the carers, sharing your story, because it is unique. It's very unique. You are a very unique element of this project, because you're representing not only your voice, but the voice of your mother as a carer, which we don't hear enough about. And this goes back to the list that we've been talking about for our list of 10 ways to help you be a better you, to make you feel more engaged and accomplished. And we have one that really relates to this. It's about fostering your relationships. Fostering your relationships, right. Okay. And fostering your relationships, for me, that's about fostering a relationship both with yourself and with, it's as much about fostering a relationship with yourself as it is with other people. Because when we are not connected to our better self, it's really very difficult to have authentic relationships, better relationships with other people. But that's, again, all part of a process, and that takes work. And also, it takes sometimes disconnecting from relationships as well, because all relationships are not good relationships, are not healthy relationships for us. But having friendships, having a social circle, social network is so important to our well-being. Being isolated, people who feel isolated, in themselves can become unwell. I look at street people, people who are homeless, and I look at them sometimes, and I look at the sad look. I see the sad look on their faces, because often they feel, if you take time to speak to them, they feel so excluded from society and so alone, and not having the comfort of a home, a secure home. And that's a very, very, very difficult situation to be, an unhealthy situation to be in. Very difficult to foster relationships when you're living on the streets, for instance. Very, very difficult. So I would encourage us to be mindful of the relationships that we have with other people, be supportive as we can, but also be even more mindful of the relationship that we have with ourselves. That means how we talk to ourselves, saying things, for instance, to ourselves. Why did I do that? I'm such a fool. What a silly woman I am. We all do that, don't we?
We all do it.
Goodness me.
We all do it, and it's all part of a learning process. But it's about unlearning certain unhealthy practices, certain behaviours that have become so familiar to us.
Wow. I'm just reflecting on that.
Negative talk, negative self-talk
can be quite toxic to ourselves. We can be quite toxic to ourselves.
Because we suddenly start believing that stuff. Maybe I am a stupid person. And we're not.
Me.
Yeah.
Folks, I want you to say something to yourselves this morning. You are wonderful.
Yes.
I am wonderful.
Say it.
I
am wonderful. I am enough. I am worthy. I have value. I am strong. I am brave. I am courageous. All of those. And even if you don't feel those things at the moment, the message you're sending to your brain will have an impact on your body and on your soul. But it's not the absence of those positive messages create space for the negative ones, not just to come in, but to take up residency in our lives and in our bodies and in our souls.
So inspiring listening to you this morning, and I'm very inspired by the message that's just been sent to us by Sister Rahana. Thank you so very much, Sister Rahana, for getting in contact with us this morning. And she says, a very good show, Shamiza. Thank you so very much, Sister, for your compliments. Gosh, what a topic. I have personal and professional aspirations. She writes,
wonderful.
1, I want to read more. Anything but read more. Mashallah. That's great, isn't it? That's a good thing.
Great.
Read more.
Reading more. Yeah.
2, to improve my health.
Excellent.
Excellent
Feeling
one.
better about yourself. Yeah.
3, she says, to start a hub for women. So looking at funding sources. I like the way she's doing this.
Oh, yes.
Rahana, you're my kind of woman. 4, take more holidays.
Yes, look after yourself.
Wow.
Go away. Travel and connecting with other people throughout the world, again, is very good for our well-being and helps us to foster better relationships as we understand people more.
Fantastic. And she says, rather than 1 in 3 years as kids growing up, need to grab time with them whilst I can.
Yes.
So that's a good way of looking at things as well. And sometimes just going to a holiday doesn't have to be an expensive trip to a very extortionate place in the world. It can be something as simple as going somewhere in Britain. There's so many lovely places that we kind of miss out.
You go away for a weekend at a local hotel if you want, a local place, and it can be just as exciting. It's the journey that is important, and creating that whole excitement around it. And you're only probably going an hour away, but that for a long weekend, that can be so uplifting.
Definitely, and it's a time out. And she says the list is endless. Rahana, thank you so very much.
Yes.
You've given us some great tips there. And she also has kindly said that over the years she's lost many friends because she's become so busy, or people have not been there when she's needed them. Now I can only count one person as a friend. She works for herself, which means difficult to develop relationship with co-workers or staff members.
Okay. And it is, because it can be quite isolating when you're working for yourself. I know that. So I'll share this. I'll share a bit about myself because it feeds right in with what you're saying here. For 30 years or more, I worked as a social worker until last August.
Oh wow!
When I felt that it really was time for a new direction. In fact, I had felt that for some years before that, but creating the opportunity to do that was my challenge. But in taking that decision to step away from social work in the structured form that I was doing it, was one of the best decisions that I actually made. It freed me up to do so much more and to start that journey of becoming the better me. I was a me when I was doing my work, and I was giving the best that I could do, giving the best of myself as far as I could in that environment. But I realized I wasn't giving the best of myself.
Right.
And I needed to step away from that work. But having stepped away from it, of course, a lot of my work is done by myself, at least the creative part, and I'm doing it for myself. And so it can be quite isolating. But the important thing, one, is to be comfortable with myself. I'm learning to be much more comfortable with myself, and that's important. And also reaching out to other people, doing shows like this. This is important as well. Making connections with other people, being involved with projects, doing things with other people, and my family as well. All of that is helping me to become the better me. So this has been a wonderful journey, but I totally understand Rahana and her worry about feeling isolated. But there's so much that she can do to create the relationships that she so wants to, and that will help her in terms of her onward journey.
Inshallah. Rahana, thank you so very much for listening into the show, and thank you so very much for contributing some very great, brilliant tips.
And best wishes with your work.
Yeah, and definitely
all you do. Your intentions.
definitely do tell us a little bit more about the hub that you're wanting to create. There might be women listening in that may want to kind of support that. I don't know if you know about the Women Connecting Women. It's an extraordinary project where women come together to share their interests and professionalism, so forth. And there's a launch that's going to be happening in February. So I'll be sharing more information. There's a Facebook page, so do connect on there.
Yes.
But once again, Rahana, really grateful that you've actually contributed. And I do hope that you're able to kind of, connect more with people. And the fact that you've connected with us, you're in other worlds, and may these connections grow.
Yes, continue to grow, yes.
Folks, you're listening into the Urban Cube show with myself, Shamiza, and the wonderful Haneefah. It is 11:16. Monday, 13th of January. And today's show is part of many across this month, which is about self-development. And today's topic, it's about being the better you. And I've had the absolute pleasure of Haneefah sharing with us her thoughts in response to some of the tips that I've been talking about how to kind of make yourself feel more engaged and accomplished. One of those tips was also old way out and new way in. Your thoughts on that, Haneefah?
Old way out and new way in. You know what? We can't. I can't quote it. I can't quote it word for word, but I read something recently which was about creating a new life based on old behaviors and how difficult that is, and how much of a struggle we put, how much pressure we put on ourselves. So recognizing that moving the old away to allow for new, more creative energies is so important. Some of us like to, because it's comfortable, being in our comfort zones is sometimes keeps us zoned out.
Right.
And it keeps us away from doing what we really want to do in life. But it's challenging and it's fearful. There's a lot of fear in changing direction and trying something new. But taking that step, as I was just describing, taking that step after, so many years in my profession. And I'm still a social worker, but I'm just doing it in another way. I'm a life coach. So I'm focusing much more on my empowerment coaching and from a spiritual angle. So I'm now a soul-based coach. And so I'm still doing the social work, but doing it in a different way. And so doing something new with old tools sometimes doesn't always work. So allowing ourselves the opportunity and the space to create new tools. Now, one of the things that one of the people that I want to mention here is Arthur Ashe. And Arthur Ashe was a tennis player, Black American tennis player. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but there's a quote that is often used. Arthur Ashe said, and he was saying this in the context of when you're faced with, for instance, sporting challenges, but it relates to any challenge. When you're faced with that challenge, he says, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Ooh. So, start where you are. Thinking about old ways of doing things won't necessarily take us to where we want to get to. I know that if I used all of my, if you like, well-worn and well-used social work strategies in my life coaching work, that wouldn't necessarily work, because social work and coaching are two different skills. And so I've learned I have to use new skills in my new work. So what you're saying about removing the old and bringing in the new, it's tough, but it's about having the courage, as I talked about before, having the courage to stand up and try something new. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Don't worry about what other people are doing. You mentioned my Facebook page and the dream, having a dream. Sometimes some of us are even scared to dream, but it's really important that we have those dreams to motivate us and to propel us into doing something new in our lives. So yeah, I'm saying try something new, remove the old and make space for the new in our lives.
And, you talked about taking, a step at a time around this. And it's interesting, on the list it did say small attempts. Take small attempts.
Yeah. Start where you are, Arthur Ashe said. Start where you are. So it may be that you make a small step. When I was moving away from social work, I couldn't simply just, okay, I'm leaving today and I'm going to move into coaching and everything is going to be wonderful. No, I'm taking very small steps. And it's like the A to Z of Stress Solutions, my book. I'm saying take small steps, A, then B, then C. Don't expect to do it all at once. All of the images that we see on social media, on social media, and the successes that we see won't necessarily have come about overnight. They would have involved people taking small steps to get to where they are now. But starting the journey is the important. Make a start.
Definitely.
Yeah, small step.
Make that start. Start now. Start here.
Start here. Start now. And do it in your way. Be the better. Because remember, the show, it's called Be the Better You. So you're not trying to be the better. I'm not trying to be the better Shamiza. Shamiza's not trying to be the better Haneefah. Shamiza's trying to be the better Shamiza. You're trying to be the better you. And I think that's the distinction that so many of us have. We're trying to be somebody else.
Yes.
And
that's the problem, isn't it? When people are constantly want to emulate others, when yet you're worthy and more than enough.
Yes,
yourself.
more than enough. Yeah. It's about taking inspiration rather than making comparison. Don't compare ourselves with other people. Take inspiration, but don't be making comparisons all the time.
Yeah, I like that. That's is that a Haneefah quote?
Yeah, it is. Yes,
you need to write it down, girl.
Just come down. Yes. Hashtag taking inspiration.
And it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. How words can either make you or break you.
Oh, absolutely. And they say sticks and stones may break my bones, but what do they say? Names can never. What do they say? Sticks and stones, but names can never hurt me. Actually, words and names, they can hurt people. So we have to also be careful about the words we use, how we use them. As a Muslim, I strive constantly to be watchful, be mindful about what I am saying and how what I am saying will impact on other people. I'm constantly asking myself, and sometimes I slip, but I'm constantly, but what would Allah say? Would Allah want me to say that? What's my motive for saying or doing something? Am I coming from a good place or am I coming from a place of ego and my own desire, my own needs? If that's what it's about, then that's not what Islam is about for me. And my faith is very, very, very important to me.
And this is what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
How important is your faith and reflection to you, your life and your work as a poet?
Yeah. It is so very important because when I write, I write to inspire and to motivate. But I also write because Allah is real. It's not a mystical figure, and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he wasn't a mystical figure. This is real. Islam is real. And so I write about real experiences, about my real thoughts, and I'm always trying to reflect the real world in my work. And my work comes from a spiritual base. So although I may be saying something that is coming from a place of real frustration because of injustice in the world or injustice in a relationship, I'm actually coming from my inner self, which is where I believe my faith lies and emanates from. Mashallah.
Mashallah. We're going to be reflecting more about your inner self and your thoughts on the stories that have hit the headlines and those that have impacted you in 2019 after the break. And we're also going to be catching up with thoughts by Miriam Grillo, another fantastic artist, creative, on her thoughts on being the better you. She's messaged into the studio. Inshallah, we'll be catching up with what she has to say. You still have opportunity to contact us, guys. We've still got half an hour of the show. Don't be shy. Get in contact. Tell us your thoughts on being the better you. And we're also going to find out, Haneefah, from your 3. You've got 3 more to add to the list, haven't you? So straight after this break, guys, we're having more conversation and motivating you on this fabulous Monday morning with myself and Haneefah. Do catch me straight after this. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Hamza. Continue listening to Inspire FM 105.1 FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Cube with Sister Shamiza.
Hello and good morning. We are back live. 11:30 is the time. Monday, 13th of January, and this is Shamiza taking it all the way up to the final half an hour of the show. We're ending at 12. Where has the time gone? Time is of the essence, and today's show has been a real celebration. Okay, I'm live now. I cut myself off for some reason, but I'm live, guys. Today's show. We are talking about time, and time is of the essence, and time is what we're reflecting on, and how to be the better you and how to make good use of your time. And I'm joined by no other than the very fabulous Haneefah Muhammad, who is a performance poet and a published author as well. We've had the pleasure of her reading from her poetry book, and I'm going to invite her to read another piece just before we forget to ask you to do that, because we've got so much more to talk about this morning.
So what would you like me to do?
I would love you to read a piece, please. Okay. If you read a piece. Whilst Haneefah is finding that piece to read, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing what our listeners are talking about this morning. They're kind of responding to the question that I posed to you guys this morning. Is like, how can you be the better you? What are you doing to make you achieve engagement and feeling a bit more accomplishment? And Miriam Grillo, who is a friend of the show, tremendous woman who has a massive impact in the communities around her through her artwork. And her passion for mental health and art therapy. And she says, I am better for connection. I am better for connection is what Miriam Grillo has said. More whole with the opportunity to have connected with women who have a shared experience. 2019 was an extremely busy year for her, which culminated in the Butterfly Effect, an amazing project which offered the opportunity to share untold stories and connect people, which the connection also is made with yourself, Haneefah. Shared untold stories and connect people across communities, faiths and lifestyles.
Yes, wonderful.
So she says, this is from Miriam. Thank you so much, Miriam, for this. I am better for connection. What a beautiful thing to share.
I mean, it is a beautiful thing to share, and it reflects my view that connecting with other people is so good for our spiritual health, for our emotional health, for our well-being overall. And the connections that Miriam was key to making in that whole Butterfly Effect project was so profound, really, because she took us as a group almost from just as a group of women, really, a group very much as Mother Monologues, and as you did, Shamiza, with us, took us as a group of women who didn't quite know initially what we were going into and what we were going to become, but we became a formidable group of women who created something so amazing. Your show, which was aired on the 30th of December, and now that, as we've talked about, the mural, and with Miriam's Butterfly Effect event project, bringing women together to talk about personal experiences and then create a performance piece from that, which was I'm looking forward to seeing the film of it, the final film of it. I can't wait.
It was emotional,
wonderful connection. Yeah, both events.
Very, very poignant.
Yeah.
Very relevant. 16 days of activism.
Yeah.
Raising awareness of gender violence against women and girls, which was part of the UN, United Nations activism around this awareness. And well done to Miriam. And well done to all the women who are really creating change, and the men who are supporting this change too.
Yes.
Because I'm seeing so much connection amongst people that may not have connected before, which is wonderful.
And
to
people
see.
of all ages. That's the other thing. It's not.
Intergenerational.
Yes, it's intergenerational, and so it's important to say it's not just about older women or younger women. The projects have involved women of all ages, and that makes it even more profound. I think,
it's so important to kind of identify that, you know, sharing those experiences with the young and old, and having a common grounding.
Yeah.
Because we can't forget that even though we might have an inner child in ourselves, but we have wisdom of years of experience that we can share with the youth who laugh at us.
And they can also share their experiences with us as well. They can help us to have a laugh sometimes, and particularly when we're talking about issues that are quite emotional.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to have young people around to have a little giggle, and but also to hear their experiences and how they are impacted by the experiences of adults around them.
Yeah, and the world around us, because there's parts of the world that we are not engaged with, and we don't have an understanding of, and this is their world.
And they tell their story.
Yeah,
in
so
each of the pieces, they tell their stories. Wonderful, powerful.
And you're going to be sharing a story through words in the piece that you're going to be reading to us. Tell us the title of the piece. Okay. And this piece is coming from a book, a published book of poetry. What is the title of the book?
My book is called My Sole Purpose, and it was published in May of this year.
Oh, mashallah.
Mashallah. And I'm very, very proud. May of last year, hear me, because this is 2020 now, isn't it? And so it was published then. And I'm very, very, I feel very blessed, mashallah, to have created this book, because all of the words come from me, whereas my A to Z of Stress Solutions was based on a lot of research that I'd done, but also personal experiences. This is all personal experience. And so so this really comes from my heart, which is why it's called My Soul Purpose. And my sole purpose is to connect with other people through my spoken word here. So the piece that I want to read to you is, there were a couple of that I wanted, but I think I've decided to go with your passion. When you've finally found your passion and you know your true purpose in life, set to work and decide what actions will move you to will do from I might. Draw on all your strengths and do all that you can to create and stay focused on your plan. It's not easy, and you'll face challenges along the way. But learn from them, get over them, come what may. Be proud of each success you achieve, because you're one step closer to your dreams. To bring out the very best in you, to do what you were born to do. Show gratitude for whatever you receive. Take nothing for granted, but believe that the universe helps you find your passion, then guides your soul to its destination. So it's about finding your, going within, finding your passion, bringing it out, and then sharing that with the world to do your part, my part, our part, to make this world a better place.
Wow. And you do it so well.
Thank you, mashallah, yeah.
And
thank you.
The way you read, the way those words flow so naturally. There's a rhythm, there's a flow, and it's quite, I'm getting quite sleepy listening to you. Have you been trained to perform in performance poetry reading?
No.
And this is natural?
It's absolutely and totally natural. I've not been trained. And I think because it comes from my heart, these words, this energy comes from my heart. I share it in that heartfelt way because that's my way of wanting to connect with, my way of connecting with other people. And I know that the words will connect, but I also believe sometimes the way we share those words, it's often it's not what we say, it's how we say things that impact on other people. And so the words are one thing, and it's how they're shared with other people that I think can make the difference. Yeah.
Now, how can people access the books, the two books that you've written, the poetry book and the A to Z?
So at the moment, I'm having a new website developed, and I can't wait to share that with the world. But it's a couple of weeks away. But so at the moment, you can get both of the books from me. I'm actually on Facebook. So, you could, what do they call it? Messenger me, MD me or something? Oh, I don't know. Messenger me on Facebook. I'm also on Insta. But at the moment, if you wanted to get any of those books, you could contact me on Facebook or you can contact me on 07956 157 401, or send me a message on Facebook and I'll get back to you. Just
and
leave
you're
me.
Haneefah Muhammad.
Yeah,
on Facebook.
Haneefah Muhammad. That's right.
Mashallah. And you say that so nicely. Because it's your name, obviously.
It's my name, yeah.
Now, somebody who you gave a shout out to is no other than Amy Ricks, who has got in touch with the show to talk to us about what being the better you means to her. And Amy has kindly messaged in saying, trusting and listening to my intuition.
Yes, intuition, yes. Very important.
Recognizing when I'm being gaslighted. This can often happen without us realising. We always hope that everyone in our lives has our best interest at heart. More often than not, they have their own interests and their version of who we should be. We are only the one who truly knows our soul. Nobody has even lived a second in your life, so nobody knows and understands your soul than you do. In 2020, I hope people have awakened to their own soul's purpose. Stop living for others and take full responsibility for ourselves and our own happiness. Trust your vibes. You're not crazy.
Oh, isn't that just so Amy?
And she also says, trust your intuition like a boss.
Just boss it. Yeah, just boss it. Yes. Yeah. I love
Thank you,
that.
Amy, for being so generous and sharing your personal reflection. Which has been very, very kind of you. Thank you so very much, Amy, for listening in and sharing that. And
thank you, Amy.
Boss it.
Can I just say something about that, because it's triggered something in my mind about something that's very topical at the moment, about what's the situation within the royal family, and without getting over political about it, I'll just share something that I've picked up myself. Yesterday, I was watching an interview with Meghan, and she made the comment that life is about thriving, not just surviving. So key. And I think what she was, without wanting to interpret what she's saying, I got from it that she wants life is more. It's more about being our best self.
Yes, of course.
Thriving in life so that we can be our best self, rather than simply scraping the surface, just going along to get along, surviving, which is what surviving is about. But thriving is about being our best self.
And not being diluted.
Yeah, not being diluted, not being dictated to, not being directed, and not being dumbed down.
And I'm really glad you've picked up on this point and what Meghan has said, because she is all over the papers, and we are reflecting on a news story that may have had an impact on you.
Yes.
And Meghan and Harry's story is one that is across all the papers. Your thoughts on the situation there, because it's quite divided. It's divided the country.
It has.
They're stepping down in their roles, and the reason why they're having to do that, and who is to blame, and has Meghan faced racism by the press? Is the racist, story, like headlines, been an impact in the reason why she's kind of stepping down with her husband, the roles as a senior royal?
Do you know what, Shemaisa? If we had started this at the beginning of the program, we could have probably had the whole program about that.
Of course.
But just to put things in a nutshell, I think there is so much more to this story than meets the eye, and I think that the worry is that there is a lot of emotion and hysteria around the story, and a lot of that emotion and hysteria are directed in a negative way towards Meghan herself.
Yeah.
Now, many of us can ask why. As a black woman myself, I will ask, I wonder if the fact of her race has something to do with it. Is implied here? Is that an issue here? It's been an issue from the time we knew that she was dating her
pre-engagement.
Harry. Yeah, so that's been an issue. So that's undoubted. I think she's getting the blame, it seems to me, for the decision that they appear to have taken together. And, one expects that they've taken that decision together.
Yeah, and not lightheartedly. Really.
It's a huge step. And we actually don't know any of the details. So it's very, very difficult to speculate. Yeah. And I'm not going to speculate about it. What I will do, and I hope that the general public will keep an open mind, because we don't know the facts. We probably never will know the facts. So to make snap judgments, to judge that situation, I think could narrow our thinking. And when we narrow our thinking, we have a narrow perspective. When we have a narrow perspective, we become judgmental. And when we become judgmental, then we begin to target people and demonize people wrongly. So I would encourage us all to have an open mind and not allow ourselves to be pigeonholed into making a snap judgment about a situation that, frankly, we know really nothing about, apart from the decision.
I wish them
that
both the best.
Of course we
they
do.
have a child that they are prioritising here as well, and they just want to lead normal lives and be the better person that they want to be. They want to...
Yeah. They want to thrive. They want to thrive, not just survive.
Not just survive. And it is survival when you're in the spotlight in a position like that.
Yeah,
and we just want normal lives. And I think that kind of makes me feel my blessings that I lead the life that I do in the space that I have. Yeah. And it's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, you know what, I'm able to be who I want to be.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm not under that type of pressure. Because sometimes you think, we compare our lives, don't we, to others, and we just want what they have. But no, just appreciate your own blessings. Start with yourself. Look at what you have.
Would you want to be under that intense spotlight?
No way, goodness.
Every single day?
Crikey.
Have to look your very best.
Everything's scrutinised from, every tiny element of you, and it's over magnified, and that's not good for the soul.
It's not.
Nobody wants to sign up for that.
No.
But hey,
and as a woman of colour as well, that's yet another aspect. Would you want all of that? No, we wouldn't. And the important thing is feeling that we are able to share our views and our feelings. This is why I'm so thankful that I'm sitting here and I'm able to share with you my thoughts about this situation, because in some situations you wouldn't be able to talk about it openly and freely. But I'm glad that I had.
And we discussed this in the break where there was an opportunity for me to reflect on this, and I didn't feel I was able to fully really reflect from my core. Exactly how I felt. I felt I was holding back, and I don't want to be put in a position like that ever again in my life where I have to hold back what I have to say, because I think being integrity and being true to yourself and saying how you feel, sometimes you will not be appreciated, but at least it's honest. And honesty is one thing I want to, for me, being the better me is about being honest and being true to what my beliefs are, and that's what I want to learn, and I'm always on that process of learning.
Of course we are.
I'm not in any position where I can say I am truly happy with my personal traits, but I'm blessed to be where I'm at, and alhamdulillah for that. We are coming back to the list, being the better you.
Yes.
We've talked about some of the list that has been reflected upon, and we've had generous contributions from the wonderful Rahana, Mariam, also the very awesome Amy
Ricks,
and the very delightful brother Khalil as well have all contributed. But I understand you have a few more that could go on that list.
Well, they're very much in context of the Arthur Ashe statement that he made, the quote that he made about starting where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Yes. And so the 3 points that I've taken from that in terms of starting where you are, we've talked about taking small steps. All of us can start. We come from a starting point. So start from where you are. Don't expect don't expect to start from the top all of the time. It's a journey, and we make our way step by step. So but the important thing is to show up, take some action. So and also don't look back to what other people are doing. Just start where you are. Start where I am. Use what you have. Be grateful for what we have around us. We have friends, we have family. Some of us, have colleagues that we can turn to. Use those that we have in our journey to help us in our journey. Don't be so prideful that we can't ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Show gratitude to those who who help us along the way, but also don't be afraid to ask for help. Use all of the skills and gifts and abilities that we have within us. I use my poetry to share and inspire and motivate other people. That is always my best intention. And then do what you can. Arthur Ashe says, and do what you can. Doing things for other people is the best way. Being of service to other people is a great way to increase our sense of well-being. So doing things for other people with the intention of making a difference will once we do that and we come with that mindset, the universe will bring what's due for us in our direction. That's the important thing. Yeah.
You've talked about service to others, and one quote that comes to mind, which always resonates with me, is by the late Muhammad Ali, the boxer, the legendary Muhammad Ali, who says, "Service to others is the rent you pay for the room here on earth."
There you go. Basic, isn't that wonderful? Service to others is the rent you pay for
your room here on earth.
That's so powerful, isn't it? And if we can help others in any way that we can, in the way that you're doing at this moment, speaking to other people, inspiring other people through your program, if we can do that small thing, then let's do that. Whatever we can do, let's do that. I think it's wonderful. So that's what I would say. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. And don't look back and don't look at other people. Start with yourself, because it starts with you. It starts with me to being our better self.
Another comment that's been sent over to us from the very awesome Sister Neelam. And now she says, "Lovely show, by the way, ladies. So inspiring." Thank you so much, Sister Neelam, for tuning in. Now, she's commenting on the story that we've just talked about Harry and Meghan.
Yes.
Now, she says, "I think it is great that Harry and Meghan have decided to move on. But in a nutshell, I think she's standing down to the media. Sadly, she was bullied by the media. But the couple stepping down for their family needs almost undermines the effort Kate and William are doing for their family. They are too young but have taken royalty of importance. It's a tough one, but we must be fair that while we applaud Harry and Meghan, we also respect William and Kate for carrying on respecting the royal heritage."
Yes, because they're making a choice.
Yes.
And we all have to. When we find ourselves in a position where our choices are removed, then that can be a huge challenge. And William and Kate are making a choice, presumably. I don't know what their choice is, what they're doing. I have no idea at all. But it appears at this point, in the absence of having had heard anything from them about wanting to step aside from royal work, we assume that their choice is to stay where they are, and they are free to do that. Good. Meghan and Harry have chosen something else. that's fine too. With
Yes.
me, that's fine too. Having the choice, having the maturity and the courage to stand away from that life, if that's really what they're going to do, then that's up to them. That's their choice. I don't live their life, and Allah has given. I struggle with the life that I have, so I'm not going to try and live theirs or speculate on theirs. But
Right.
obviously, we all have an opinion, and we're thankfully mashallah, we're able to express that opinion.
See, what's interesting is they're not leaving the royal family. They're just stepping down their roles. They are still there doing their thing.
Yes.
You can't
Yeah.
just disappear off the
Yeah,
planet.
of course you
the
can't.
face of the earth. They just want to kind of have a little bit more privacy,
As
I
Megan
think.
says, she wants to
Normalise her
thrive,
life. Yeah.
not just survive.
course.
And being your best self is a part of that too.
Now, Sister Neelam has also said that to being the better her, she started reading this book about prayer, and this has changed her outlook on her life. Beautiful.
mashallah,
Thank you.
mashallah.
Lovely
Isn't that
ending to the
beautiful?
show.
Yes.
Guys, it is the end of the show. Thank you so very much for contributing and listening. And thank you very much, Haneefah, being so
welcome.
gracious
Thank
and
you.
so wise, and the
Thank
beautiful
you so much
poetry
for
reading.
inviting me.
The repeat of the show is 8 p.m. If you've missed any of the conversation, there's also a podcast, and the Facebook live feed is there as well to catch up on. From me, have a wonderful day, guys. Have a wonderful week. Be the wonderful people that you are. Keep smiling. And from us, it's a massive big assalamu alaikum, and keep us all in your du'as.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We stream our daily broadcast on inspirefm.org. You'll find all our daily updates on our social media at Inspire FM Luton.